Hi guys, welcome back to the Mina Does Art Stuff YouTube channel. My name is Mina and welcome. Today we are going to be painting a like rainbow chevron pattern in my sketchbook using the Nightshade Watercolours that I received, I purchased somewhat recently. It's been a while now since I've got them, and I actually filmed this video a few weeks ago. It's just finally getting around to sitting down and recording the voiceover for it. So just to quickly run through the colours that I have Theo Ruby, which is PR88, original quinacridone gold, which is PO49, and then so I'm starting with the Theo Ruby at this point. And then I also got the sap green, which is a mixture of PO49 and PG7, and then I also got a pan of the Indanthrene blue, which is PB60. So I will, if I can remember, to have the website linked below if you're interested in purchasing. I know shipping internationally can be a little bit of an issue, but when I did place this order, I'm in the UK and the seller is in the US. I had no issues with customs or anything when it arrived, so there's that at least. But that's not to say that it'll be the same for everybody. It's just my experience. I thought I would share. So what I did was, prior to starting, I decided to do this as a double spread. So you can see there I've taped all the edges of the paper with washi tape, and then I ruled out these chevron lines, and the plan was to try and leave like a small bit of white space between each of the sections. And I did that for the most part, but occasionally I let the two sections, I let the paint from the two sections touch, so there could be some natural bleeding and blending between the colours. And what I did was, for each section I used a colour, and then I would mix with the next colour or lighten it with water for the next section, just to kind of like change the hue each time. So you can see here, every time, like once I did the first one with the Theo Ruby, I then added a little bit of quinacridone gold to the mix to kind of warm it up, and like I said, change the hue a little bit as you go along. Sorry, I don't know what's happening to my voice, it's gone a bit hoarse, but yeah, so it's very subtle, and that was the whole point, because we've got quite a long space to go, and I wanted the change to be quite subtle and not too drastic, because we want to show a nice sort of gradient rainbow change. And this is a really fun way to play around with a limited palette. Like here I have 4 colours, but I easily could have done it with just the 3 without the sap green, but I love sap green, so I wanted to include it. But yeah, all you really need is like a red, or preferably actually would be better is like a magenta pinkish red, or a cooler leaning red, because that mixes better purples with blue. Sorry. So a yellow and a blue. So for my yellow, I'm using quinacridone gold, which is more of an orangey hue, but lightened with water, it definitely has more of a yellow sort of undertone to it, so it definitely works as a yellow in this instance. It's definitely more on the warm side, but it also mixes really beautiful sort of earthier greens as well, which I really like. I much prefer earthier olive sap type greens than I do bright blue greens. So yeah, it's a really fun way to, like I said, play with a limited colour palette. It also helps you learn about colour mixing, and it's just something fun to do that might be an alternative to a colour wheel, for example, because doing it this way you get to play with lots of different like the in-between hues. Like you see here with the quinacridone gold, I just did a really light wash of it, and you can see it comes out more like a yellow, like a very pale yellow. So yeah, I feel like this is a really good exercise for playing around with colour mixing in a way that's more than what you can do with a typical colour wheel type exercise. And those, don't get me wrong, those are great, and I love doing those as well, but with this one you get to play around with those in-between hues a lot more. And yeah, it's definitely, and you don't have to do like a chevron, you can do squares, you could do whatever shape you want, you can do little doodles and paint each one in a different colour along the scale. And you can see here I'm starting to add the sap green to that sort of orangey mix on the plate. And that's the other thing, I pretty much just kept mixing the next colour to whatever was already on the mixing plate. You will see at one point, as I start to transition to the blues and to go to purple, I do then sort of wipe it out and clean it up a little bit, just because there was still too much green in the plate for the blues and the purples to really show up properly in the mixes. It would have really kind of muddied it at that point. But yeah, it was a really fun experiment, and I really enjoyed the finished result. The paper that I'm using, the sketchbook, is the sketchbook I got from AliExpress a while ago. It's one I've been using a lot recently. I've actually finished it, and there will be a sketchbook flip through video coming out very soon. It's actually already been recorded and edited before I finish this video, which is really just a sign of where I'm at right now. But that should be coming out probably just after this one, or maybe there's one other video before that one comes out. I'm not sure yet. I'm kind of getting a lot of videos filmed in advance at the moment because this next week is my daughter's break from school, so she has a week off, and so I'm not going to have a lot of time to do much work or film videos or anything. So I'm not actually sure. That week might already be finished by the time this video gets published. I really can't remember what my publishing schedule is at the moment in terms of which videos are coming first. But yeah, so I'm trying to batch edit and film a lot of videos. So I'm really loving these different shades of greens that are coming through here. Sorry, my camera battery died and I hadn't realised, so here we go. So now I'm adding more of this Indanthrene blue to the greens and getting much more sort of like a dark foresty green, almost similar to like a perylene green type of hue, and really loving how this shade here that I'm currently painting out looks. It's a lot of fun. Okay, and so whilst we are still here, I thought I would mention that if you're enjoying this video, I'd really appreciate if you give it a thumbs up. If you haven't subscribed yet to the channel, please consider doing so. It'd be great to have you around if you enjoy these types of videos. I do have quite a catalogue of videos on my channel now, so there's definitely a lot there for you to take a look at. We play around with different art materials, we play around with different techniques, and experimenting and learning. I'm still fairly new to the watercolor game, as it were, and I'm still figuring things out, but I'm enjoying it, and I'm enjoying sharing the process as well with you guys. I enjoy sharing the good sides, the good things, and you know, the not so good things as well. I don't feel like only sharing the positive outcomes is necessarily the most beneficial to everybody. I feel like it's good to show, especially when you're in the learning phases of any sort of new skill, it's good to show, you know, when you have little hiccups and things don't always pan out the way you expect. Having said that, this was definitely one of those situations where the finished result was pretty much exactly how I'd imagined. So this was one of those instances where things turned out pretty much exactly how I wanted, so that was great for this particular case. And so you can see here that as I'm trying to mix the purple, I've noticed it's going to be too muddy, so I take a towel and I just sort of wipe up the paint that's in the bottom of the bowl and start again with the blue, and then add some of the Theo red to it to start mixing the purples, because at that point there was so much green and yellow in the paint water that was, or the paint that was mixed in the palette, that it just wasn't going to mix a good purple like the way it should have done. Anyway, so we've got the last couple of bits. Oh, and the other thing I wanted to mention, and I guess we've got a bit of time so I can talk about it now, is that I do have my Jackson's affiliate link at the bottom of all of my videos. All that means is that if you use that link to make a purchase on Jackson's, I get a small commission, which really helps out this channel, helps me out a lot as well, and doesn't cost you anything extra. And if it is your first time ordering with Jackson's, when you use that link, you get an extra 10% your order, so that's always a bonus in my opinion. And yeah, I actually really like this shade of purple, like reddish purple that I've just mixed up here. It's really quite pretty. I love purple. Purple's probably one of my favourite colours, if not my favourite colour, but I'm more of a pinker leaning purple fan than a completely blue leaning violet purple, but it's definitely, that's definitely one of my favourite shades right there. Alright, so thank you so much for joining me today. It's been a pleasure to sit and chat with you guys. I hope you'll enjoy the rest of this video, and I will see you guys in the next one. Remember to like and subscribe if you haven't already. Leave me a comment down below. Let me know what kind of painting exercises you like to do. I love rainbows, so painting these types of rainbow things are always up my alley. I love doing that. So let me know what are your favourite go-to painting exercises to do when you just want to paint but you're not sure what to paint. Alright, take care and I will see you next time. Bye!